Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to the Horror at Highrook, where we've just decoded an important journal. We've got a code now for the chapel, so we're going to get ourselves into some more rooms. We've got a basic meal that is basically going to shit here, so we probably should eat soon. People aren't super hungry, but just to avoid the waste. And then yeah, like we have techniques at the very least. We are generating leads. So let's get back to it. The machine room thing looks like we can get on that right now. We could eat the meal afterward. So does anybody else have like a short critical task ahead of them? You were going to pop this document box. It is a little bit of a bummer that we can't see the duration of the task before we set off on it. We know this one. Just in case that document task is a little bit longer, though, I think I'm going to have Caligari wait. Sorry, Caligar, definitely a unique person who is not just a reference to a thing. Let's have you two put this stuff together, and then we shall feast. Okay. Science prevails. Brother Acheron, we understand that in recovering the tear, your son has been hurt. It is unfortunate and regrettable, but do not swerve from your path now. The knowledge and power you will acquire can cleanse your son of any ailment, void-born or otherwise. I love that those are the two categories of ailment they're familiar with. You must reach further into the inner circles of the unseen twin. Only there will you find the power to heal your son and fortify your family for what is to come. Prepare your summoning chamber, assemble the rite of the opening eye, and speak with the key, the guardian of the first circle. You must pass through the darkness to reach the illumination beyond. Okay, and we've discovered another journal as well. At last, the fog begins to clear. The Seekers are trying to contact Nibiru, a mythical domain of cosmic power, an unseen isle that lies hidden outside of natural time and space. Vitali frowns, looking concerned, yet excited. Engaging with these histories is enlightening, but it is also dangerous. I think we can assume that Gideon has already begun his journey down that path. The chapel has clearly been used for ritualistic practices. Aster examines the thick oak door, and we can assume it was locked to prevent his family from discovering his work. If he was hiding his activities here, then what might await us in the other sealed chambers? Do the chambers have... Yeah. I should make sure I'm reading the descriptions. Decorated sparsely with disturbing tapestries and scarred with obscure floor markings, this room has clearly been the site of dark events. A carved stone altar broods in a dark alcove, awaiting offerings. Okay, and this is going to be a 3 keys task, so we'll get there. Let's move Aster in here. Let's get the basic meal on the table, and we'll move Atticus in just a moment here. Then we can cook that meat when we're done as well. Let's everybody have a meal. All right, owl tea is a start. We're going to also need some more of that chalk, it looks like. All right, hardly delicious, but it will do. All right, so you should now be able to figure out a way to open this box. Vitali, why don't you do your thing? Let's just have everybody go play the Generate Resources game. Because I don't remember where the chalk comes from. We found Mr. Tubbs! A portly barrel of soft gray fur, this cement gray cat purrs industriously as he stalks the rooms of the house. Unperturbed by the living or the dead, he maintains an air of self-sufficiency, never mewling for food or clawing for attention. An independent gentleman. His collar offers a name but no provenance, and he is not referenced on any residence list. Regardless, he patrols the corridors in the manner of a landlord inspecting his domain, pausing here and there to permit the occasional scratch behind his gray velvet ears. So he is a task and a support card. He is himself a task focus. What I'm assuming that the task... Oh, except he is locked. I do not have permission to move Mr. Tubbs. Mr. Tubbs moves on his own. I guess I can pull this down here. We can leave that there. Somebody's going to have to cook pretty soon. And I guess that's going to be... Let's get Atticus on that. And we've discovered just another letter. New pilgrims at Highrook. A reopening is at hand, but you do not appear to be seekers. I pray you have the insight to act wisely, where Gideon acted without real consideration. Acheron was a talented scholar, but his downfall was to trust the communion. Their knowledge and ambitions are flawed and naive. His use of Dreamly fled to his discovery of the tear, but his subsequent actions were rash and ill-informed. I hope that your progress will be more enlightened. To this end, I offer you a part of the whole you seek. Make good use of this gift, and we might speak again. V. Well, now isn't that interesting? And we're starting to get real close on this. Okay. What else do we want to be doing? So we got to get this coded journal figured out. We pulled another focus fern here, but we probably can't make tea for at least a little bit. Again, we need more of the chalk. I think the chalk came from digging in the courtyard. I think. This booster matrix can go to the machine room. I think we'll just renew these tasks. And we'll watch Mr. Tubbs. When Mr. Tubbs moves to a room where we can do stuff, we will see about doing stuff. Oh, there is hissing going on over here. Okay, tracing charcoal. Perfect. Do you have the... No, you do not have the study skill. All right, a chemical worksheet, catalytic powder. Vitali should be just about with this stuff, able to get through this this coded journal. And I guess put that back here. You are... Here, we can swap these two. And once again, just do generate, resource generate. Go, make thing happen. Atticus Hawk is exhausted. Alright, we gotta get some sleep. It's very easy to get caught up in all the everything. Everybody needs rest. Let's let Vitali finish his task here, and then we'll commit to sleep for a bit. Okay. Gideon's note. 6. He was dying. I had no choice. I summoned the key while the veils were still thin, and I demanded that she take him into the gardens of the first circle. The rot will stop there. He will not worsen, but he cannot stay long without protection. He will become ash. He will wither away. I will raise myself further. I can enter Nibiru of my own volition. I will compel the needle to cure Simon. I will bring him home. Sophia must not know. It is best she believes that I have sent him to some private city infirmary. Once I have returned, she will see the reasoning and the glorious path ahead for all of us. The shadow is cast long across this house, but perhaps there is still time. What has Acheron done? Has he really offered up his own child to some eldritch horror? Real monsters or rotten seekers, it don't matter to me. It's abduction, plain and simple. Atticus clenches his fists. We must find the boy, but I don't care if Gideon is ever seen again. Yes, Atticus, he seems to have made a pact with the communion, or the entities they revere, and to hide this from his wife, such arrogance. Sophia Acheron is no idiot. Her intellect is easily a match for her husband. She will not be fooled. Aster adjusts her goggles anxiously. But of more pressing concern, who is this key? A demon? A seeker? Or something else? Well, if my memory serves me correctly, the key is an instrument of Nibiru, the chief doorkeep of the Unseen Twin. If Gideon has awoken such an entity, then we will face more fearsome dangers than the Communion's thugs. Okay, that's worrying. Alright, let's get everybody into the bedroom, and I think we're going to... use a little bit of the old dream draft here again. This is obviously the center bit. We're getting close. Oh, yeah. Let's just have ourselves a little rest. So see, it says task focus. Like a task in an item that can be focused on has a line that reads this way, but it also has numbers after the things. I don't know. But it gives benefit in the kitchen and in the guest room, I guess? Maybe. Okay. What a restless night. We have had a dream of the cliffs. A drawing from a dream hastily sketched on torn notepaper. I'm standing in a sea of sallow grass, the wind folding it around my feet in waves. A pale child, the Acheron's son, is here. He looks at me quizzically and then points toward the silhouette of a rocky granite outcrop on the distant bleak cliffside. When I turn back, he is gone, but the shape of the stone stays in my mind as I wake. Perhaps it is here somewhere, within sight of the mansion. Well, it's not exactly rocket science here. Let's set Aster to it. Alright, follow the vision. You can't do it yourself, right? No. At least not without another boost. Atticus, go dig for cool stuff. Vitali, go press this button. And then I don't exactly have a task for Culligar right now. Just hang out with the cat, I guess. The Valhassa Tear. I did it! I took the necklace and hid it in my den. Pa forgot to lock the chapel, so I got in and stole it. It took a terrible long time to get it here, as it was weird heavy to carry. I'm all tired and hurting from being so poorly. I know I should not have taken it. Pa will be angry, but I done not want it to hurt him or Ma. And maybe now it's outside the house I might get better too. I hope so. I'm sorry. Well, this is grim. A small pendant composed of a simple brass clasp holding an eerie blood-red crystal. The interior of the tear seems to glow with liquid illumination, as if it holds a strange boiling mist. The tear was recovered from a Valhassian burial site and brought to Black Sands during the Veld War. It is said that it can provide the wearer with power and insight, but will extract a toll on the user's body in return. Items of occult power such as this might be enhanced given the right location and offerings. Okay, interesting. So right now it gives chapel support, and it could be upgraded presumably in the forge. Alright, well that's not quite enough for us to take on another task though, huh? Oh, somebody should brew up this focus fern. The vision was true. Alright, owl tea. That's right, the oil bud is done up here, which is a thing you could get on. You can make some machine oil for the machine room. And then we have to figure out where are we going to get... Where are we going to get the last piece to this puzzle? We need to do something to prompt the spawn of the appropriate item. But what would that be? Also, I'm trying to keep an eye on Kalagar's wound level. It would be better for Kalagar not to be an alcoholic. I think that's probably fairly uncontroversial. So let's see if we can just burn through that right now, right? All right, I'm just making sure we have all of our possible items here. There we go. Some tracing charcoal, very useful. Additional focus fern. Additional chemical worksheet to replace the one that we just used. More dream leaf, although we don't have an immediate spend for it. I mean, if we're not really finding anything else that's pushing us forward, is it just another dream? We could try... Could provide inspiration, but can also make you ill. So it says it can prompt vivid hallucinations. I'm wondering if we should try just eating the Raven's Cap. But the way this bottom part is worded, I'm wondering if these are the only effects it can have. I guess at this point we may as well try it, right? So who's got sensations? I'm going to have Atticus do it because the text sort of implies injury, and I am a little worried about Kalagar. Apparently we don't need any skill in it, but, you know. And I'm worried about Kalagar taking more injury if it's not absolutely necessary. So let's see. Oh, but here comes Mr. Tubbs to help out. We discovered the gift of the bee. My blood buzzes as if my body is a hive. A busy factory filled with the countless chemical tasks of my anatomy. I am in awe of the simple alchemies of the everyday. A vision that lingers, offering a source of inspiration. Okay. Well, that seems handy. This is just a support item. Yeah, we're a little bit short on, like, important stuff. And it's like the only other thing that I can think of to move forward is to have Kalagar hit the Dream Draft again, which I guess I'm going to do while everybody else works to generate resources. Okay, that generated the gift of the monkey, but it did not generate, it didn't actually use, oh, because the night lamp was in the thing. Okay, here's some more Raven's Cap. But yeah, nothing else. All right, let's try it again with the right thing in the spot. Oh, the echo. Oh, wait, Mr. Tubbs is in the thing. Pet Mr. Tubbs. Absolutely pet Mr. Tubbs. Who is the most crazy? Atticus. Atticus is well, no, sorry. Atticus is the most tired. Really, nobody's very crazy. I'm thinking petting the cat probably calms you down. Oh, a little bit of a hiss. But in the end, it did in fact remove madness. You know, here's the thing about a cat. Everybody loves to hang out with a cat. Vitali went here. Vitali, go pet the cat. While the cat is in a petting mood. Alright, a dream of a monocle. The hunched shoulders of a tall but crooked man loom over a blinking console, somewhere in the machine room. He pokes and prods, turning dials and tapping gauges. An open journal rests on the dirty counter, the intricate symbols on its pages smudged by his fingers as he traces their equations. He grunts and plucks a shiny lens from beneath his furrowed brow, placing it on top of the book. After staring into the dust-filled air, the man rises stiffly from the machine, abandoning the book and monocle. He stumbles from the room, and you awake, the sound of calculating engines still humming in your ears. Calculating engines, not engines that are calculating, but also engines that are like for calculating, right? Alright, well, let's follow that dream to perhaps the monocle or something. And indeed, Irving's eyepiece. This rose-tinted monocle is constructed with an exotic bulbous lens that improves the clarity of smudged or faded text. The lens itself comes from a set of polished glass discs found in an ornate chest washed ashore in Ashport during the Great Coriolis storm a few years ago. Once the quality of the lenses was realized, they became much sought after, exchanging hands for extortionate sums across the city. Arlo Irving, head archivist at the Venatus Institute, was one of the first to commission eyewear manufactured with such lenses. Irving directed the reconstruction of Venatus's famous yet crumbling library. He had a hawk's eye for detail and whimsically claimed that he could read the books through their covers. But it was generally surmised that his remarkable acuity came from some magical quality imbued in the monocle itself. Well, that seems pretty handy. Let's just go ahead and plug that into the archives. And, hey, look at that. We found another cryptic journal, if you can believe it. A small folio of notes and diagrams scribbled in Lord Acheron's distinctive hand. It is written in a more complex cipher than some previous entries. But something tells me we'll be able to figure it out. So, what else do we need? We can replace the thing we just used. You sort that cryptic journal. Okay. Alright, you should brew us up some more of this. You got another booster matrix, which is fine timing. And here we have Gideon's note. I cannot find my tools anymore. I cannot find my tools anymore. It's as if the house is shifting around me. Scraps and relics wandering from room to room. I am so weary with study and drained from ritual that I cannot think straight. I am attempting to keep track of the fragments, and I know I could acquire replacements if need be, but I fear I am stumbling into the darkness without the protections I need. The Communion is urging me on, offering support from afar, but they are not subject to the nightmares that I see in every shadow. And, more importantly... Okay, that I was expecting to have to press something there. That did startle me a little bit. A rite to break the threshold of the first circle. A knock on the gates of Nibiru. Draw an arched door upon the wall in white chalk. Circumscribe the form in a circle, and at the apex of the arch draw a 12-point star. With your forehead pressed against the star, sing the song of the autumn key. Hold the edges of the frame, stare beyond the wall, eyes wide, until the tears drop to the floor. Close your eyes, close your mind, and open the door. The fragments have formed the opening eye, the ritual that the Seekers urged Gideon to complete. It's a window into Nibiru's hidden domain. Vitali shuffles around the chamber, nervous but excited. It might seem foolish, but I think we must perform this rite to further our investigations. I mean, that does seem a mite foolish. It's exactly the kind of thing characters are always doing in these stories, but that also is exactly the reason the characters in these stories always end up dead. Vitali, are you mad? These evil rites should be burned, not performed. We should look for the Acherons here, in the real world. Atticus shakes his head vigorously. Gideon may have been insane, but we need not follow him into his lunacy. I hear you, Atticus, but it's clear that Gideon was determined to carry out this ritual. Perhaps we can find fresh tracks by replicating his actions. If you trusted my judgment during the Keel fever epidemic, then please, remain in step with us now. Hi, Miss Caligar. You pulled me and my boys through that outbreak, and I still owe you for that. Atticus wrings his hands, uncertain. I'm not happy with Vitali's plan. It won't end well, but I'll do as you ask. For now. Okay. So this is a chapel thing. A right to break the threshold of the first circle. A knock on the gates of Nibiru. Draw an arched door. Oh yeah, this text we know. Unfortunately, Task Focus 3 is challenging. We don't have another booster for this room. No, we do. I took some blood. And apparently, that's what it's going to take. Incantations. Vitaly should be able to do this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, Vitaly, get in here. All right, perform the ritual of the opening eye. And good luck to all of us. And in the meantime, you know, this stuff. The world melts into a watery gloom. A vision shimmers into... I was reading that as though it was Simon. The world melts into a watery gloom. A vision shimmers into view, as if stepping through a waterfall. Hello? Are you from the outside? Have you come to take me home? Please take me home. It is so strange here. Roots like worms and worms like roots. I don't like it and I can't get out. I'm slow and empty. Am I falling asleep? Am I dreaming? The one who brought me here won't take me home. She comes and goes, singing like a howling star, her head all broken up. Simon's image begins to waver. Please tell Pa I'm sorry about the necklace, and I miss him, and Ma and Amy and Tubbs. We should have had Tubbs in the room during this. There's no way that Tubbs' presence would not have been helpful, right? I am the key, the opener of the gates, instrument of the end. I am the keeper of Nibiru's secret paths. You have come knocking for me to return the boy. I will not. He is dreaming in the garden of the first circle. He will sleep with the shadows on the shore, a tribute to the end. Turn back, fleshlings. These roads are not for you. Okay, that seems pretty bad. Oh god, ritual remnants. I have no control over the time scale right now, by the way. And I can't move things. Okay, well. Perhaps that was a real bad idea. They are awakened. The dance has begun. Commas are difficult. Periods more so. Okay. So we discovered a crack in the world. I'm trying to click on it. It won't actually let me. There we go. It was going to do it itself, but only in its sweet time. The key has returned to Nibiru, but a dark runic scar remains, etched into the floor of the chapel like a wound. A fetid draft rises from its inky outlines. This is a tear in the world, left behind in the aftermath of a dark ritual. Whilst present, this fracture might provide ingress to things from beyond. To mend this fracture, we need to banish the entities it gives birth to. Okay, good to know. What in the hell was that? It felt like the sky had become an ocean and drowned us all. The Acheron boy, like a ghost, half here and half elsewhere, thin and hollow. Atticus rubs his eyes with grubby fingers. And that beast, that horror, its head like a broken root. Was it real? If so, what has Gideon done? That entity was an instrument of Nibiru, a lesser demon of the end, something I thought that I would never witness. Vitaly shivers, but his response betrays an edge of excitement. The key is the custodian of the first circle, the sentinel on the shore. I've read of such beings, but I never dreamed I would see one. Perhaps the window through which the key spoke has not fully closed. There is a mark here on the ground, an uncanny rift or fissure. and a card here, seemingly dropped by the boy. Caligar plucks the key card from the grimy boards. We should monitor this scar in case its presence conjures more nightmares. Very wise, Caligar. We need more information on how these unholy rituals operate and who is involved. I suspect that there are more occult texts locked in the secure cases of the archives. I will send word to my colleagues at Venatus. Perhaps they can provide us with assistance in accessing them. Okay, now can I actually look around? So, ritual remnants are mechanically they're just more ghosts, I guess. A flickering form, a sense of frozen fear. Something is here and also not here. Its half-presence sends shivers through the air. Okay. So this is a machine room problem. Let's get you on that. And then what else? We probably want to move Caligari out of here. So I need somebody to... the archives have spooky ghosts in them now. Like, we do need to go through the archives and reacquire a couple of our boosters. But I think for right now I'm going to avoid it. Alright, Sophia's note. The brain cap I brought from Direwitch appears to be a waste of time. I hoped it would aid Simon's classes. However, the gadget not only requires the support of the machine room, it also seems to operate entirely randomly. Instead of focusing the user's mind for study, it imparts all kinds of chaotic visions. I was tempted to return it, but Gideon disagrees. I think partly because he wishes to avoid leaving the house. I'm concerned that his solitude is a sign of something more troubling. I have been so immersed in my own studies recently that I did not notice this change in him. Maybe it has something to do with his work for the Seeker's Communion. I will have to ask him when the opportunity presents itself. Nothing from Direwitch ever works properly. It's a nest of grifters down there. But I am glad the lady was starting to notice her husband's decline. Let us hope she got out before he got her involved in his wicked plans. Well, it is a relief to find more evidence of Lady Acheron. Sophia was a keen amateur scientist. I made her acquaintance at various lectures in town. A truly remarkable woman. I pray we might still find her safe. The device is a mechanist design, but it is unfamiliar to me. It seems to be some sort of mental imager. Even if it did not suit her needs, it might be useful for ours. The equipment in this schoolroom might also be of use. The chair is designed to support machine-enhanced learning. Vitaly strokes his beard, pondering the possibilities. If we can find the time within our investigations, we do well to make use of the training offered here. Well, time is a thing I think we have. So let me file this. Take a look at the schoolroom here. The air is heavy with chalk dust and old paper. A strange mechanical chair dominates the room. Its padded arms sprout metal limbs that hold lenses, screens, and other less identifiable apparatus. Okay, where's supposed to be paused? The brain cap here. A mechanist helmet, it's faceplate box all vision, turning the wearer's focus inward to examine their own fleeting thoughts. When powered and worn by an attentive subject, this device can enhance and explore the inner workings of the mind. Seems pretty cool, but I guess we gotta check out Venatus' letter before I'm allowed to touch that. A fellow mechanist Astor. Firstly, we commend you on your commitment to this investigation. A paper on your findings will be most welcome in the Institute archives. Judging from your description of the modified locks, it appears that Lord Acheron has been receiving assistance from the Seekers. The Communion has developed an alternative configuration to our standard locking mechanism and uses it to secure their hideouts and archives. Their work is far from sophisticated, though, and we've included a Mark I skeleton key with this letter to enable you to bypass their crude revisions. We wish you good fortune in your work. May the cogs turn your way. Venatus Institute Assembly. Hey, that seems useful. An intricate master key device from the Venatus Institute. Things are crossing the veil. I hate it when things are crossing the veil. Its slim metal body bristles with ridges and teeth. Each protrusion is attached to a rotating band, like an ornate puzzle. We can use this to help us unlock sealed containers in the mansion's archives. Okay, so it is a task focus object. As I suspected, the aftermath of our ritual has invited new terrors to the house. Perhaps they are linked to that cursed mark in the chapel. Caligar seems more intrigued than concerned. We should use our skills to remove or destroy them before they damage us or the property. Okay, I agree with that. That seems sensible. So this here is a demonic force. Increases the fatigue level of nearby characters every hour. A carpet of fine thorny tendrils has sprouted beneath our feet. These wiry coils of bramble-like roots desperately wrap themselves around anything in reach, stifling whatever they can grasp. Moving through this field of clutching threads is exhausting, each step a miniature battle with the writhing rhizomes. Perhaps we can melt them away, or dig out their source. Perhaps. So, okay, hold on a second. Vitaly's note 2. It is difficult not to despise that lump, Atticus. If we did not require the presence of someone to hunt and carry, then I would have sent him away, or at least petitioned to the others that we did so. The horrors of Highrook are not those which we can beat with hands like clubs. They're not something we can take out into the garden, hit with a spade, and then bury in the thin dirt, as Atticus no doubt wishes to do. As I assume that asshole wants. This place is a puzzle box of many-dimensional complexity. As an example, whatever ritual incantations Lord Acheron may have uncovered, it is only my learning and insight that will allow us to engage with them in the correct manner. It's a weirdly written sentence. Okay, so we do not have the best stuff for Roots 2. Question is, am I allowed to use... Okay, maybe it's either one. In which case we want to move, like, Caligar in here, so we're only spending one support card. Alright, Caligar, you battle the beast. Do as best. Do as best you can. Atticus's note 1. I do not normally do writing, but something's off. This Highrook place is a wreck. Full of junk and books, broken things. I don't like it. It smells wrong. Feels wrong. The scholar's a brainworm, and Astor is boring. A puppet-loving mechanist. The doc's the only normal one. Wish she'd take that mask off. She fixed me up last spring, headed for the Keel fixed me up last spring for the Keel fever. She cared naught about the bodies. Waded all in and treated us. In some fancy skirts, too. Elegant, you might say. Even in all that filth. Anyways, Joskel asked me to get his silver snuff box back from the cellars here. Apparently he dropped it last summer when helping with a delivery. If I leave it by the gate in the courtyard, one of his boys will pick it up. Okay, that's interesting to know. A little tiny ulterior motive. So let's get Astor or Vitaly on this, right? Yeah, the eyepiece will get that work done. We have this document box that we will figure out eventually. This brain cap goes in the machine shop. But I'm going to have her... We spent a bunch of our modifier items, right? So let's see if we can't refill a little bit. Oh, Mr. Tubbs has moved into the machine room. Has it moved into the slot in the machine room? So presumably that's just going to be pet again. He's just in a mood to be petted in the machine room. Okay. So we got some raw meat. We got some focus materials. That's pretty good. The oil bud will be useful for sure. A faint insight, a small revelation, new knowledge that could be applied to improve one's skill. It's a little bit of a shame that we don't get a little bit more descriptive text about what happened there. How exactly the thing was resolved. Oh geez, this meal actually is about to go bad. We should probably eat something. Did I commit you already? I did. Well, I'm going to assume that the thing can't vanish while, like, after you start the event. So let's see. This will be a time to test the thing. All right, we made some machine oil. Mr. Tubbs, you want some dinner? Okay, the machine oil will be useful for the brain cap. Does that make the food not work? It did. It did do that, in fact. All right, Atticus, go brew the fern, and we'll do other stuff too. A garden guide, a collection of horticultural tips and highlights. Amongst the leaves are extracts such as how to pluck a mandrake, what to do when your beans are wrinkled, and where the wild things grow. We're all very concerned with the wild things and their current presence. All right, let's see. You're going to need some help with that. More than the gift of the bee can by itself provide. But I don't really have anything for you to be doing at the moment. You know what? Let's have you work on the brain cap, actually. You can dig. Oh, you're supposed to be. You're also supposed to be acting. Repugnant spores. A cloud of simmering spores. A brackish yellow haze that seems to arise from everywhere and nowhere. Its sickening spores catch in the throat and cause hacking coughs which rack the victim with painful spasms. We might be able to filter them away somehow, or neutralize them with smoke. Atticus and the special pot should be able to perform some kind of filtering task, right? And Mechanist Aster has experienced a vision of a theft. Rain pounds on the roof. It crackles like gravel on the grimed panes of the chapel skylight. Lord Acheron is here, examining one of the wooden side tables. His hands move around the dark wood beading, trying to find something by touch alone. A soft click reveals a small secret compartment. It is a thin drawer that slides out from beneath. The Lord of Highrook takes a few slips of paper from his pocket and stashes them in the tray. He pushes the wood back until another click occurs. Then, satisfied the stash is safe, he slopes from the room. The rain fizzes angrily behind him. Well, now that's interesting, but I think we're going to be unable to use it because I can't get the crack in the world out of the slot there until we defeat it, presumably. Aster's pretty tired. Everybody's pretty tired, actually. But whatever. Let's get this started. And when everybody finishes their tasks, obviously we'll go do the other thing. You can brew up some machine oil. Okay. Chemical worksheet. Very handy. Mr. Mouse. Part 2. One day, Mr. Mouse was watching from his window and he saw a little jolly boat being paddled along the river. Sitting in the boat were the 4 visitors that he'd been expecting. With a squeak, Mr. Mouse climbed down from the window. He knew that the visitors must never see him or all would be lost. He was, after all, just a little mouse. Pulling on his little mouse jacket, Mr. Mouse scurried to his cozy mouse hole in the wall. He would have to prepare for the arrivals. They were here to meddle with the great king's dreams. Perhaps they would even put some of them in jars and take them away, and Mr. Mouse couldn't have that. Huh. You don't say. Okay, so we got ourselves some catalytic powder, some more faint insight, a little bit more damage to the crack in the world, and the machine oil that we were looking for over here. And then I think we're going to go ahead and dream a little dream again. Alright, only 6 more to go. An empty dream. If there was something, it's gone now. So perhaps we've reached the end of the usefulness of the dream draft. Could be, could be. Atticus, if you wouldn't mind getting back on making stuff. We have a document box here in the courtyard that we should definitely get open. And nothing else of immediate critical import. So I guess the other two could just kind of hang out for a second. Oh, but I should start this task. You tell him, Mr. Tubbs. Alright, Sophia's note 4. The unsettling changes in my husband's character are accelerating. He acts like he's a seeker now, spouting their twisted occult adages and poring over their dusty tomes. That's not the... It's not the correct pouring. I fear I am losing him to their fanaticism. Generally speaking, you do not want to pour things over dusty tomes in that way. His mania seems to have overridden any concern for Simon's illness. He ignored the Cancross Yard medicals who came to help, and instead spent the time placing the house in lockdown. He's constantly distracted, and refuses to talk about Simon at all. I'm not sure what his intentions are, but I have begun to keep my work in the cellar atrium in order to avoid any potential clashes. I will place a spare key with this note, so I cannot get locked out of there, too. Ah, well, that is very kind of you. So a cellar code, easy enough for a professional like Aster. And then again, we kind of have just like, what if we replenished the lost goods here? It is a little bit of a tedious sort of design loop. Why is the brain cap up here now? Oh, because I swapped it with the cellar code. Right. We have a vision of a theft in the chapel, which oh, right, that's just that. I put that there. I was like, I don't remember seeing this pop up. Well, look who's always getting interrupted. A carpet of fine thorny tendrils has sprouted beneath our feet. These wiry coils of... Yeah, okay, same thing as before with the grasping roots. We can handle that with our garden guide. And here we have yet another room. I am worried about the master. Since he started talking with those seekers, the house has been filling up with all kinds of oddments. Horrible antiques and tattered books full of foreign writing. Dire portraits I would not look upon. Amy says that just touching some of these items made Simon poorly. And now the Lord himself is suffering from some sort of melancholy. Perhaps Lady Sophia is worried too. She asked me to bring some of her stuff down to the cellars. Told me that she might start working down here. I am thinking that if anyone else gets ill, I might have to start misplacing some of these weird objects when I handle the deliveries. I don't like to deceive, but I don't want Amy getting poorly either. Interesting. A groundskeeper and his daughter attended to the family, taking their own lodgings in the old well house. It appears that the father was also suspicious of Gideon's behavior, and had been stashing some of the Lord's tools and relics. I'm not sure if this will help us or hinder us. Alfred Blaine, I think his name is. I'd see him now and again at the docks in Aldworth or at Direwich Market. He seemed a decent fella, bit of a dreamer, and a bit too fond of smoking, but a good sort. Heard he'd adopted some of the orphans with his missus. I hope him and his daughter are safe somewhere. We should pay attention to their journals if we can find more. It's remarkable how overlooked the domestics can be. No doubt the Acheron servants had accepted all manner of occult deliveries and had access to the private chambers of the family. Yeah, that seems pretty likely. So we're finding replacements for our lost boosters here and a fragment of something more. It looks like a left edge to me. We'll put that there and just hold on and see. All right. Let's see Atticus's attempt to clear these grasping roots through here. Okay. We're totally doing it. Seeker's Letters 4. Brother Acheron, your skills improve. However, your recent divergence from our instructions is concerning. We know that you acted in order to protect your son from further illness, but the instruments of Nibiru are not destined for trivial or domestic application. The key will be unlikely to return Simon to you without significant persuasion, and although his sickness will remain stable in the gardens, no unascended entity can remain in that place for long. We hope you will rein in your personal impulses during the next stage of our journey. And an old mechanist notebook. I was going to say logbook, and then I don't know what happened. A small pocketbook composed of gridded paper and reference tables. It is busy with mathematical calculations and obscure equations, and is extremely readable, one would say. Provided, one had the right assistance. Alright, what's going on in the cellar? I didn't even read the description here. An old rock stairwell twists downward into a honeycomb of vaults and caves beneath the house. Rotting crates and rusting stashes line the damp tunnels. And this is a place of secrets. Okay, well, I think we're doing an all right job here. People are starting to get pretty hungry. So let's have Atticus start cooking up the food. Aster can keep looking for stuff in the archives, or like what are we missing now? I guess go do a clifftop search. Caligari can't. Well, Caligari can dig. All right, cracking the world down only to level 5. And there's some catalytic powder. There's some new tracing charcoal, which is good because we're going to need it. Here's the stuff for some more tea, which again we are going to need pretty much immediately. Here's some more machine oil, which, who knows, but probably pretty immediately. And here is another piece of this art, which I dare say might be a top right corner. Just a feeling, Okay, what are we doing next? What is critically important? You know what? This is a little shorter than we usually go, but actually, this seems like maybe a good moment to pause it here. I think that's what we're going to call it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. We have made it into the second phase of the story. We're starting to pick up the clues much more quickly now, and I'm hopeful that we're going to have something valuable to do by the time we finish closing the crack we caused in the reality of the world. And then maybe the wisdom not to cause another one. So come back next time for all of that, and we'll see you then.